What is going on, everybody? It is episode 551 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary. I came into work today bearing gifts. I gave Brett a box of Snoop Dogg's failed cereal brand.
Failed is strong. That's it's a little strong.
Fruity Hoops with marshmallows, which is clearly just a ripoff of Lucky Charms and Fruit Loops at the same time, which is like turbo diabetes. So I hope you have a good time with that.
Yeah, I literally, with every bite I took, I could feel just one step closer to the grave. Granted,
you're here for a good time, not a long time.
Exactly. I was like, live fast, die young, leave like a diabetes-riddled corpse.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying.
I'm trying to help you get there.
That's the real plan here. It's kind of like if you guys ever saw Mighty Ducks 3. In Mighty Ducks 3, look, Goldberg loses out to Julie the Cat Gaffney as the number one goaltender for the team. So he hatches a plan. Instead of getting better at being a goalie, he does the smart thing and he just tries to get her fat and slow her reaction time. So he starts like putting donuts on her tray, and then she's fat and she can't respond well, and he takes the goalie position.
So back. I'm sabotaging you.
Yes, that's exactly. I don't know what being fat or fatter would have to do with doing this job, but theoretically it could.
It's harder to keep it's harder to catch your breath.
Yes. Well, I mean, that actually is a skill set that I don't possess that well, but I wouldn't have been able to do that even when I wasn't fat. But the funny thing about it is we had a bunch of stuff to talk about today, so I don't think that will matter. But what do we got to talk about today? One thing you can't be fat and do is action star, or at least not that well. And the number one thing to talk about today
shoddy
is
attempt at a segue, though.
I lost my train of thought. I thought I did it pretty well. You got a $20 one right there from Shane H12. You want to read that one?
He said, "Happy Monday, Brett and Mary. I just wanted to thank everyone who saw my post yesterday and prayed for my priest who is going through chemo for cancer. God bless y'all. Okay, I will now return to my usual snarky self. Yes. Yeah, I didn't see that post until someone, I think, replied to it, but I will be praying for your priest." Yeah. Corey Anderson also sent $20. "Brett, I know why there will be no justice for Mocha. It is because you have to see the tardy cat on a regular basis. Mary, how was Mass on Sunday? The sermon at my church was about how the youth cannot function as adults."
Is that true?
I mean, yeah, the message sounds true. Yeah. Church was fine. Yep. You know.
Is it
first Sunday of Lent?
Are some like Sundays more riveting? Are some sermons more riveting than others?
Gosh, I don't want to get into it, but
okay.
But look, one priest has an accent that, to be totally honest, is really hard to understand, especially with the echo and the acoustics in the room. So I do prefer when the other priest is giving the homily.
There you go.
That's the one thing that I hope for.
That's good. All right, so back to what I was saying here.
Rachel
Zegler. So this year, in the year in which Tom Cruise drove a motorcycle off of a ramp off of a cliff.
We have a $20.
And Keanu Reeves fell down 50 flights of stairs. We have Rachel Zegler winning Action Star of the Year at the People's Choice Awards. Go ahead.
Pop Culture Junkie said, "Recent fan, congrats on 100K. PCC is informative and entertaining. Please explain how party count, crisis meter, and the money gun and sound effects work. Me, retired former multiple Emmy winning Fox TV VP. Keep up great work."
Wow. Well, that's quite a resume you've got there, my friend. And as for all of it, okay. So what happens is on a show like this, just like what you just did, every time that there is a super chat, you just saw the money gun go off. That money gun is a response to every single super chat that is sent. And then what you see at the bottom is the crisis meter. And when that crisis meter reaches $100, it triggers a crisis party, which takes about 3 to 5 minutes to trigger. It's set on an automated timer. It constantly checks for it. So when one happens, you get the party, which obviously is the sound effects and the song that Carter made, and me and Mary dancing while Phil tries to give informative insights on green room etiquette.
Honestly, it's not a complicated system, but when we explain it, it starts to sound more complicated than it is.
Yes. So just every super chat goes towards the crisis count to the crisis meter, and when the crisis meter is full, it triggers a party.
That's $100.
That is $100. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So that's how it works.
Math.
And thank you for tuning in. Thank you. So we're not just going to talk about that. There's multiple things to get into when it comes to Madam Web, because Madam Web absolutely bombed at the box office, got totally smoked by the Bob Marley biopic, which is hilarious considering that the Madam Web movie is a supposedly blockbuster franchise Sony superhero movie. Didn't cost $80 million, supposedly cost $100 million. Well, it bombed. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about the ill-fated Dakota Johnson press tour, which seems to be not helping their cause other than to make it even more memeable than It's Morbin Time. I did start seeing It's Webbin Time going around, but we're going to get into that.
It's not going to stick. It's Madam Time is way better.
It is. But not just that, we're also going to talk about Joe Russo. If you don't know who Joe Russo is, he directed Captain America Winter Soldier. He did Civil War with him and his brother did Civil War and Endgame and all of those Marvel movies. Anthony and Joe Russo are very prolific. They also made the unfortunate series Citadel, but we're going to leave that one out of there for now. I hate that show. But he went off on a very weird meltdown rant on Twitter on Sunday. Basically, if you saw over the weekend, Chris Stuckman, he's a YouTube movie reviewer, he made a video talking about studio interference because Chris Stuckman has entered the Hollywood industry. He doesn't make reviews that trash movies, when they're bad. What he does is he focuses on movies that he likes. But for Madam Web, because there's nothing to like in the movie, he basically made the whole video about studio interference. And what happened is Joe Russo started going off on everybody who dared have anything negative to say about Madam Web, as if that's not the position that 99.9% of the planet have, and said basically you're basement-dwelling trolls if you dare criticize a movie. And if a movie is good, the director and the actors get all the credit. And if a movie is bad, well, then that studio is the big bad person responsible for everything failing. It's typical nonsense from Hollywood. Everything is somebody else's fault. Everything good is responsible from me, which is how they see the world. So it's very stupid. So we're going to get into that. I just thought it was funny because it wasn't even on gendered or identity politics lines. It's just, this movie's not bad and you're all a bunch of man babies. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about Kelly Osbourne, who says if you can't afford to get skinny with Ozempic, then you're just poor.
You're not fat. You're just poor.
Exactly. Or you are fat and you're poor.
Yeah.
You're not skinny because you're poor.
She's looking really skinny.
She is.
I will give her that.
She's got skeleton face. She's got Patricia Arquette skeleton face going on.
She's almost a little bit scary.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So she's Skeletor. So we're going to get into that. We got a bunch of other stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. It's a Monday. We're going to hang out. We're going to ease our way back into the week as best we can. So Mary, actually, no, I should say, now that you guys know, and as we explained with the $20 one before, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to this channel, please, if you have not done so already. We have passed 101,000 subscribers. It's not a fluke, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the 100s now for good, hopefully. Hopefully we don't lose a bunch of people. So do that and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. The more people that come in and watch these videos and live streams, the more people that hopefully stay and watch the next one, so we can grow the audience and have more people to come in and hang out with us. And also remember, as you saw earlier, all super chats $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion. We will read them right then and there, and then we will get right back on topic. So if you are ready, Mary, we will just get going. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Let's go then. All right, let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? So this is an interesting thing. It says top 5 highest grossing movies of 2024 so far. The Beekeeper, which I still haven't seen.
Neglected to review that.
And then also Mean Girls.
Hate it.
Bob Marley, One Love. Argyle, and Madam Web.
Now it's not even been 2 months.
No.
So this doesn't really tell us much.
I just think it's funny that The Beekeeper is the #1 movie so far. And I don't know anyone that saw it.
I don't know anyone who goes to the movie theaters in general.
That's fine.
That's how it is these days.
Yep.
Should we have reviewed Bob Marley? The ironic thing is that people want us to review Madam Web way more than anything that we might like.
Well, I mean, that's the sad part of the job, right? Is people don't want people don't want to actually see you like something. They want to
That's
see you
fine.
hate something. Somebody in the chat, Douglas says, did Brett buy the Trump sneakers? No.
What Trump sneakers?
What? Oh, okay. We're going to...
I don't know what... I don't pay attention to political news, so I don't know about the Trump
Hold on.
sneakers. He's a sneakerhead now?
Yeah, so this was... You didn't see these, so...
He's facing multi-million-dollar
he
fines.
He lost that lawsuit. He owes $350 million. Hold on.
They're golden.
Gold. I want a pair.
They definitely look like your style.
They're high tops. I don't know if I would wear them on a regular basis, but maybe to an event I would wear them. But the best part was I've got like a new category of fake news that I want to get into. I want to start like breaking down. So you remember the other week when we talked about that issue with like The Rock comes out and the guy thought they were saying Maui, and they were saying Cody. Well, people on the internet were saying like they were screaming like something Joe Biden, but they were saying F Joe Biden. And he basically had it bad. The people were saying that they were saying like they were saying something else than what it was because everybody hears what they think they're hearing.
The crowd wasn't saying F Joe Biden.
They were saying F Joe Biden. Because they were like they thought they were like booing Trump.
What does this have to do with Trump?
Because they were doing this on the stage when he debuted the sneaker.
They were booing?
They were booing Joe Biden. They were saying F Joe Biden on the stage, and it was really.
They thought
really
they
funny.
were booing the sneakers.
Yes.
I don't know. They look pretty cool.
The red, white, and blue is good. I like that.
I like it.
So yeah, I can't believe you didn't see it.
No, I didn't.
No. They look. There's also like a white pair, like a more athletic looking pair, like a running shoe. So Trump is this. Like I also find it funny because I'm like, does Donald Trump really sit around and think about sneaker design? I don't know. Maybe he does.
I like his fashion.
There you go.
I do.
All right. Well, Billie Eilish is an elitist, as we all know now. Did you see this? She's pissed.
I agree with her on this. I don't think TikTokers should be at movie award shows. Don't you think that's kind of ridiculous?
Yes.
They're just, I don't know. They invite these people to get more coverage on it because TikTokers are going to be promoting it.
I mean, I like it because it proves to them that they're elitist scumbags. They're elitists who think they're better than everyone, and they're not.
They're definitely better than TikTokers.
They're not getting the views that TikTokers are.
Actually, true.
That's not true anymore. That's the sad part is they need these. Like, there's a reason why they keep inviting influencers to these movie premieres because nobody gives a crap about their celebrities. I was just looking at an article yesterday about Cillian Murphy talking about he thinks that the modern like movie promotion system is broken. He's like, everybody's sick of these press tours. Like nothing good comes of it. And I was like, I asked Twitter, I said like, what would a modernized press tour be? And somebody said, just go on podcasts. I was like, imagine Cillian Murphy trying to go on like Full Send.
Well, he admitted that he doesn't even know what a meme is.
Yeah.
Like he would be totally out of his depth.
But I think if you go into something like that with a humble attitude and you just kind of go with it, you would open up your movies to a whole new audience.
Possibly.
Like,
but they don't really get that at this stage, which is weird. We're in 2024 and they don't know that. Like, Vivek understood this. He was going on everyone's podcast. And then everyone suddenly knows who this guy is.
Hey, Jake Paul. Or was it Logan? It was Jake Paul.
He was hanging out with Jake Paul.
Yeah.
They invited Tana Mojo and James Charles.
Here's this clip, though.
She's saying though, you just hear TikTokers.
There's like TikTokers here, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, get them away from me."
Openly wondering why a bunch of social media quote unquote stars were among the real A-listers. I don't know, like
there it is.
Thank you. Billie Eilish was there because of her song for Barbie. Like. Maybe they're just inviting the wrong influencers. They invited Bobby Althoff.
She's gonna end up being bigger now because she's divorced. Because she's getting divorced. She's gonna become a feminist icon.
Yeah, well, not really because she wasn't the one who filed for divorce.
Well, I'm saying
it was her husband.
She'll end up. Yeah. Well, then she was wrong.
He felt threatened by her success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Jackie Chan is in the news. First of all, did you know that?
So weird.
No, this is funny. So Jackie Chan is going to be in the new Karate Kid movie with what's his name?
Jaden Smith?
No.
They chose another kid.
No, I've got that here too. With the dude from the original, and of course it's skipping my mind right now.
Oh, frick, what was his name?
Ralph Macchio.
Ralph Macchio, yes.
So what it basically is it ends up like becoming a hybrid of the two, because in the Karate Kid with Jaden Smith, he doesn't play Miyagi, he plays a character named Han, right? Yeah. So now it's got the Daniel from the original Karate Kid, Han from the Karate Kid 2010, and then a new one, and then the new kid who's from Minnesota. I just saw this mentioned on the Star Tribune today. Ben Wang, cast as the next Karate Kid, will join Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. So it's like some weird alternate timeline.
But is this the expanded Karate Kid universe where Ralph Macchio will still be his original Daniel character?
I don't know. And so for some reason
it was all in the same universe. Okay.
We'll have to wait and see.
Well, there was this new interview that Jackie Chan did with the LA Times promoting his new memoir. And the title was just insane. Jackie Chan says he's numb to beautiful women, admits beating son in new book.
Man, to just not be an American.
And they just listed 10 different takeaways from this. Here's what he said about beautiful women. He said that I actually was very popular among girls ever since I was young. After I became a stuntman, I would go to nightclubs with my fellow apprentice. Once he became rich and famous in his 20s, girls would come to me like butterflies. Actually, I've been numb after so many years. I've seen too many beautiful girls, Chinese or foreign. Now I don't think anyone is particularly beautiful. And that's kind of sad.
If I remember correctly, he's the one who none of his kids get any of his inheritance.
Yeah.
I think it goes right to the Communist Party or charities.
Let's be real. It's going to the CCP.
It's going to the CCP.
He said he lost millions of dollars to con men, so he's clearly not good at handling his money. And it also said that he admits to beating his son, JC, and says kids need to be smacked to be disciplined. This whole thing is worth a read. At the Peking Opera School where Chan studied, he said the only method of discipline was being smacked or hit. As a parent, he also doesn't believe in reasoning things out with children. I've always believed kids need to be smacked to be disciplined. Parents discipline kids in the hope they can avoid making more mistakes, especially those I've made when I was young. If you only speak to a kid about it, he won't listen. But he says he only hit his kid once. Quote, "When my son was very young, I beat him hard once. I picked him up and threw him on the couch. His mother and he were really scared. I also regretted it, so I made a promise not to beat him anymore." And then he said that he wasn't a good father because he was always out working.
And he's the same one who has the daughter who says that he disowned her for being LGBTQ.
For being gay, which I don't know, that sounded like it might be fake, but JC Chan, also an actor, was released from prison in China in February after serving a 6-month sentence for a drug offense. Before the trial, Jackie Chan didn't try to bail out his son and told a reporter from a CCP-run news agency that the country is disciplining him to correct his bad habits. And he said he hoped that his son's jail term would turn the bad thing into a good thing.
Whew.
So
look, I can only forgive him so much. I mean, I do love the movie Rush Hour. Rush Hour and Rush Hour 2 are masterpieces and all that, but I do find it funny. Somebody pointed out, and I was thinking about this, because the original Karate Kid was obviously, it's Japanese in karate, and then when they did the remake, it's Chinese in Kung Fu, but it's not called Kung Fu Kid.
Oh yeah.
Like they're like, whatever, they're Americans, they're dumb, they don't know the difference.
I don't know why I just realized that. They set the second one in, or not the second one, but the reboot in China.
You just know that they were like, yeah, like some hero in like the writer's room's like, guys, you do know that like Kung Fu and karate are different, right? And they're like, they're dumb Americans, they'll be fine.
Oh yeah, he also said the Hollywood media brought him to tears. because when he became famous in America, he felt like he was underestimated because he was already famous in China.
He's like, don't you know who I am?
Hollywood hurt me and also has given me the most honors. It offered me $20 million paychecks, but also filled me with the most insecurity.
Oh,
he said that when he went into interviews promoting a film, American reporters would ask him, can you break bricks barehanded? Can you do karate? And asked him to show off his martial arts chops during interviews. I was very annoyed by these questions. I was already a very popular star in Asia. Everybody respected me, so why do they tease me like a monkey? And he said, after rounds of such questioning, he had a good hard cry and asked himself, why did I leave the Asian market to come to a place where no one likes me?
They were like, look, Bruce Lee was better anyways. Jet Li was better too. I actually do prefer Jet Li to Jackie Chan, personally.
Do you think it's disrespectful of them
to ask those questions? It's such a sign
moves?
of it's such a sign of like the early 2000s when nobody would have cared how
Right?
like whether that would have sounded racist or not.
Now he gets to complain.
Yeah.
That's lame.
But back then, nobody would have been. Also, like, that's him assuming that they have like some type of malicious intent. Maybe they were just interested.
Right. I mean, I don't think they were malicious.
No, that's
They
one
were
of the
curious.
things that that's one of the things that we've lost as a society. It's like now everybody kind of has way too much, like they're too on guard, and they assume everybody is like out to get them, and maybe sometimes they're just interested in what you have to say.
Yeah, I think that's why Asian characters aren't allowed to like have foreign names or have foreign accents anymore.
Well, yeah, because they're gonna assume the worst, right? You can't have that background anymore.
Right.
So, yep. But we'll wait and see about that new Karate Kid movie.
I don't know.
Good
about
for
that.
Ralph Macchio.
Aren't they going to do a Cobra Kai movie?
I mean, they're finishing the last season right now.
I feel like a Cobra Kai movie would do a lot better than recasting the Karate Kid with some other person we've never heard of. You've never heard of Ben Wang, right?
No.
Yeah. Even though he's from Minnesota, I thought you all knew each other.
Yes, we. I know Ben from Northfield, Minnesota. We're good friends.
Yeah.
All right. So people are mad because the BAFTAs were last night. Now, if I remember correctly, British Academy Film
and TV Awards.
Academy. Yeah, awards. Yeah, British Awards for Film and Television Academy. Whatever. And they did not honor Matthew Perry last night. And they're mad at this, and they're saying that there's a reason for it, basically that they're going to honor him at the television awards for the BAFTAs. You'd think they would all be together, considering film and television is in the name, but they're separate ceremonies.
I don't really get this outrage. Celebrities, TV stars, film stars die all the time. It doesn't mean that you have to get an honorable mention at every award show.
When they do these award shows, they do an in memoriam where they list all the actors who have...
That's a normal routine thing.
That's a normal routine thing that they do. But here's the thing. Every year when they do this, there's always somebody who gets left out, and then people get upset. It is kind of surprising that Matthew Perry got left out. I did find the uproar to his death to be pretty substantial. Like, we see a lot of people die in Hollywood on a regular basis. Every day it feels like there's a new celebrity that's passed away. Maybe not every day, but certainly every couple of weeks.
Well, they did include Carl Weathers, Tina Turner, Shaim Topol, Michael Gambon, and Richard Roundtree. And not Matthew Perry.
Yeah. And but his will be at the television version of this award show.
I don't know. Who cares?
Well,
I really, not to disrespect this guy's memory, but it's an award show.
Yes.
It's an award show. Why?
Somebody said he's not British.
Dead people don't care whether you remember them at award shows.
Yeah.
I think Matthew Perry has higher priorities now than being mentioned at award shows.
What's he doing now?
I mean, I'm just saying, right? Like, if you're dead, why would you care?
He wouldn't. All right. Okay, so we have to break this down for people.
Yeah. So
let's start with the case.
A lot of people thought that this was Young Thug's lawyer, but she's actually a defense attorney named Nicole Fagan, who was involved in the RICO trial involving the YSL gang, which is affiliated with the YSL record label started by Young Thug.
She
She just got arrested.
No, but she went on to represent members of there, but got them separated from that case.
Yeah.
So she is not working she is not a defense attorney for the YSL RICO trial. She is representing one of the members that got their case separated from that. So that's separate things entirely. But yes, her name is Nicole Fagan, and she has been arrested on gang charges.
So I guess the charge is she told one of her clients to hide evidence. She told him to discard his phone because there was a warrant out for his arrest.
This is not connected to the YSL case at all. So
the community note said this is not Young Thug's lawyer. She is the attorney for Tenquarius Mender in the YSL RICO trial.
People were looking at this picture.
She was severed from the trial.
They're like, this is Young Thug's lawyer. It's over. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's not, but my favorite is like, have you ever seen that meme where it's like the fat lawyer gets there with the huge suit and says, if this is what your lawyer looks like, you're going to jail.
Well, not only did she get arrested, but people are looking into her Instagram where she calls herself Fagan Law and posts videos doing like a fake urban accent promoting herself as a defense attorney.
Yep. One
picture of her holding a gun is captioned, "If your man's name holds weight, you can't just be out here acting like a regular bitch."
She's a lawyer.
If you don't have my card already, you should.
She's a lawyer to the future.
Hashtag got proof.
She's the future of she's the future of defense attorneys. So it says she represented Tenquarius Mender in the YSL RICO trial, was charged with criminal street gang activity and criminal solicitation to commit the offense of tampering evidence.
Yeah, which I didn't understand because the phone wasn't collected as evidence yet.
So it says investigators say that this was the case, but basically this guy shot outside of a mall and a child died.
He shot a child because he was mad that someone robbed him.
Yeah.
So clearly this is somebody who belongs in prison.
So her and an attorney named Tiambre Callan successfully had their clients severed from the main case against Young Thug and the alleged YSL street gang members in May of 2023. They cited maternity leave and slow pace of jury selection in the case. It was really crazy. So they were talking about this. Like, it's been impossible to get jurors because everybody would have a hard luck story saying like, look, this trial's going to go on forever. I can't afford to miss that much work. So I'm trying to picture a trial where it's not just a bunch of old retirees who can afford to not be at work judging, like a RICO case for a gang trial.
Don't you think people should have paid time to do jury duty?
You'd think so.
Yeah, I don't get.
And yes, this is a Fanny case. What's her name? Fanny Willis.
She's literally worse than Fannie Willis.
Yep, basically.
I don't know. I didn't know this was possible, but we found someone more scandalous than Fannie Willis. Let's look at these videos that she posted on her Instagram.
Here we go.
There is nothing better than when you walk out of the gas station and somebody be like, "Are you Nicole?" And real shit, the world I live in, I don't even be one to claim myself sometimes. But then when he's like, "You might not remember because it was a long time ago, but you got me out of jail," that makes you feel good.
She's also a mother.
I don't know about y'all, but I really do this shit. I'm proud of myself.
Go check my profile. I beat the verdict.
She's like Atlanta's Lauren Boebert.
She's like the female Better Call Saul.
Yes. But they were talking about how she was like a rising star in the legal profession. Now she's disgraced.
Yeah, probably deserved.
Oh, okay. All right. So yes, if that's your lawyer, you're going to jail.
Young Thug's gonna be okay though.
So I have a question. Why is it? And this person puts it perfectly. Says, "Listen, I'm just saying, if Zendaya can go out looking like this and nobody has a problem with it, can people maybe stop bitching about revealing armor and costumes in video games?"
So here's Zendaya at the Dune premiere on the sand red carpet wearing this revealing robot costume with her ass cheeks out.
And that's okay.
Inside a plastic casing.
That's okay, but it's not okay to make those as video game characters. It's because she has they would say it's because she has agency.
I'm going to be the joy kill and say let's not do either.
Do either of them?
Let's not.
I say do both. Mary says don't do either.
Yeah. I'm not a fan.
What can you do?
She looks so much better in the red carpet than any of the clips we've seen of her in Dune.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
makes
a
no
movie,
sense.
But we'll see. But yeah, and we can't even click on that one. You can't even click on X links anymore these days.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
Yep. All right,
They ruined X.
What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see Cringe first.
Cringe? All right, we got a couple of cringes here. We can do multiple. The first one here is bad. So guys, this is Madonna. She's
struggling. She's
a little old.
In a knee brace at one of her concerts.
Dressed like a skank.
Yeah.
In a knee brace.
Let's see her fall. Wait, is that the fall?
Oh, there it is.
Oh. The backup dancer didn't know what to do.
What do you do in that situation? It's not like have you ever seen that clip where like Beyonce has like a wardrobe malfunction here and like her backup dancer like seamlessly gets in front of it and fixes it without missing a beat for the choreography?
Damn.
This is like the opposite of that.
The backup dancer just pulled the chair up and didn't help her get up at all. Oh, there's one. She might be on some medications that are hurting her balance.
I'll give her credit that it's anything like that's going to be embarrassing, but then to continue on with the show is not easy. So I will give her that. But maybe if
she's got to be lip syncing, right?
Yes, but maybe if you have to wear a knee brace while in that outfit, you just don't wear the outfit. Maybe you just put some jeans on,
or just don't go on a world tour when you are aging and incapable.
They pull like a walker up and give it to her. You know what she should do?
That's how it's going to be by the end of it.
She should lean into it. You know what she should do? She should get a walker with a mic stand built in.
Oh, yeah. That'll be her on her last world tour.
That would be great. She should do that. So, that's all. And here we go. Did you see this clip?
Oh, I think I did.
Yeah. So, this person says, this is what it's like living with ADHD and BPD.
Who checked on you today? Who checked on you this week? Fuck it, who checked on you this month? Yeah, and I don't mean checked on you as in they want to get high, they want to get drunk, they want to use you for a motive. I mean checked on you just to see if you was okay. I mean checked on you just to see if you want to catch up over a coffee. Not these people who've always got a personal gain or a personal motive from it. They want to use you.
She can't get her foot out of the door.
Nah, those
Wait, she like tried to pull it out?
They don't care about your mental health, they don't care about your life, they don't care about your career, and they don't care about your relationship. Think about it. People are going to use you all the time. They're disguised as friends, but they're fake. Only real friends will tell you what you need to hear. Only real friends will push you forward. Only real friends.
What she needs to hear is that you shouldn't set up a tripod to film a video like this.
She set up the camera, made sure that the angle was right, and then just started assaulting her closet.
It's like when people it's like when people cry on camera. You set up the tripod.
This is worse. This is definitely worse than just crying on TikTok.
Yeah.
Who's gonna fix that? Also, it's always men who get made fun of for punching holes in their drywall. Mm-hmm. Now we've got equal representation.
Start a company. It's like somebody should make like a company where like you make picture frames specifically designed to cover up holes in the wall.
Sorry, what does ADHD have to do with kicking your closet?
Literally nothing.
Got it.
Nothing.
Got it.
All right, so let's do cute of the day then, shall we? We've got some cute of the day as well. Let's look at this. We're gonna do that one.
That's not cute.
So we had this one on Friday, and we had this one on Friday. Now we've got this one, and here we go. This is from the Ninja from Pop Culture Planet. It says, this is Ginger. He's a predator. He bites when you get out of the shower. He's a male ginger cat. That says it all. Handsome, though.
Male ginger cats are definitely the menaces.
He looks mischievous.
Of cats.
You know what that is? That picture is the cat version of the 40-year-old guy on the dating app who takes the picture really
It's not the, do you have any games on your phone?
No. No, I see it as the guy who's divorced and he's taking his first dating app photo and he doesn't know how to take the photo, so he takes it low.
He has his reading glasses on.
Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm. It's very cute. All right, let's do one more here. This one is from Cookie. It says, asleep on the patio table.
Aw.
Looks like he's getting a good nap in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? Let's talk about Rachel Zegler. Well, guys, If you didn't know, last year was a pretty big year for action movies. John Wick 4, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Chris Pratt even got a nomination for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I also thought about like The Equalizer, with Denzel Washington. There was a lot of great action movies that came out last year, but at the People's Choice Awards this year, they decided to go a different direction. This year, they celebrated none other than Rachel Zegler as Action Star of the Year for her role in Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. You heard me right.
Would you have thought of the Hunger Games prequel as an action movie? I mean, I know there were action scenes. It's obviously based on this world where you are fighting to the death in an arena, but most of it wasn't even about that.
No.
Most of it was not set in the actual Hunger Game.
No.
And Rachel Zegler wasn't fighting. She was running away from people.
Most of the movie, yeah.
And she was nominated for this against her co-star Viola Davis.
What?
Which is also insane. Tom Cruise from Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Gal Gadot for Heart of Stone. Brie Larson for The Marvels. Jason Momoa from Aquaman 2. Chris Pratt for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and Keanu Reeves for John Wick
Chapter 4.
And immediately everyone was like, this has got to be rigged.
I'm sorry. Tom Cruise not winning that award, given the fact that the whole year last year was spent around promoting that movie off that one major stunt. And the movie is full of stunts. But the stunt in which he drives a motorcycle off of a cliff, and you don't even see the ramp that he's using when he does it in the scene. Obviously, that's CGI'd out. The fact that they had to dedicate like multiple featurettes just to showing you how they made this happen, like the years-long process it took to do that, proves that the whole thing is a sham.
Yeah. I see a bunch of tweets. One said, did we forget about John Wick 4, Mission Impossible, and The Equalizer 3? The Equalizer wasn't even nominated.
Nope.
All had much better action than this, and two of them have A-list movie stars doing their own stunts. Tom Cruise literally rode a motorcycle off a cliff 6 times in a day. Can we be serious? Another one said Keanu Reeves fell down 50 flights of steps for John Wick 4. And John Wick didn't die for this.
It proves that the craft
John Wick didn't
matter.
die, but
it proves that the craft doesn't matter to them. That they don't care about the actual craft of what they're talking about. The funny thing is, remember when we would talk about how they needed to start nominating stuntmen? It wouldn't matter because this is what would end up happening. It would end up being some type of rigged game.
yeah, I demand a recount.
I do too. I bet you there's some 3 a.m. ballots. I don't know who these people are and why they chose this, but I demand a recount. And I do believe that there's probably, it's that graph. Right about 3 a.m., all those Rachel Zegler votes started coming in.
There was definitely some funny business going on here.
Oh, yeah.
Another said, on what planet and in what universe does she win this over Keanu Reeves or Tom Cruise last year? This is an absolute madness, pure dishonesty at its finest. Another one said, I know it's not her fault, but effing hell, I hate her. Keanu got robbed, even Tom effing Cruise.
Yep.
They did. They were robbed.
This time this is 110%
And look,
real.
I think that Rachel Zegler's acceptance speech for this award was the worst part. It was worse than Harry Styles saying... it was worse than when Harry Styles won Album of the Year and said, this usually doesn't happen for people like me.
Should we watch this here?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here she is. This is them saying sorry that you got all that hate last year.
It is.
Yeah.
It is that.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh.
She's such a theater kid.
Thank you. I love movies. I love making them. And I am a fan of movies, and I'm surrounded by movie fans tonight and movie fans who voted, and I'm so thankful to everyone who's ever bought a ticket and watched something that so many people have made.
It's so cringy to watch everyone in Hollywood try to do the Tom Cruise thing where he thanks the audience for going out to the movies, and then everybody else comes off as disingenuous and shitty.
For so long in this business, I didn't think I fit in, but tonight you have made me feel like I don't have to change myself to be chosen, and I appreciate you so much.
You love me. You really love me.
Thank you. That being said, so many people made this movie. I just want to thank Francis Lawrence, our director. Mark Hefka won tonight. Nina Jacobson, our producer.
What about your stunt coordinator?
My camera operator, Dave Thompson, because everything that I did in heels, he did a couple steps behind me attached to a gigantic camera. I want to thank Tom Blythe, who was the best scene partner. I want to thank Josh Rivera, who's the best life partner. And my mom, my dad, and my sister, and Suzanne Collins for writing this character. Thank you so much.
Maybe the stunt coordinator would have been a good person to thank.
Yeah, well, she doesn't know the stunt coordinator's name, so that was not relevant.
Weird.
Okay. For so long in this business, I didn't think I fit in, but tonight you made me feel like I don't have to change myself to be chosen.
Yeah. What?
This was a participation trophy to tell her, here's your consolation prize because everyone hated your comments about Snow White.
Yeah.
You can feel better now because you got a participation trophy.
Could have been worse. She could have been like from the river to the sea when it was over.
Ooh. that might have gotten a mixed response from the audience.
Yeah. Yeah, not good. But it was a particularly divisive night for award shows. So basically what happened is at the BAFTAs, Oppenheimer won everything. And then at the People's Choice Awards, Barbie won everything. And it just proves that none of it's real because it's all subjective anyways. Pick your critic and you'll pick your award.
I think that just means critics like Christopher Nolan more than they like Greta Gerwig.
I also think it would be funny if then she's like, thank you, Jennifer Lawrence, for paving the way as an action star.
Thank you, Jennifer Lawrence, for paving the way as being the first ever female action star in history.
I couldn't have done it without you. There's people going on over the weekend about, there was like a Twitter post that was going viral about like people who critique the modern female action star and say, but they can only ever name Ripley. Basically, they're saying like you don't know any other examples, and I was just thinking of my list of like.
You do. You have a list.
I have a list of shows with strong female characters that everybody should go and watch.
I love that you haven't lost it yet.
No, it's still here. It's remained here the whole time. But I have an extensive list of shows that have done thousands times better than even the movies have at showing you layered female characters. But everybody wants to be the first at something. So, Tom Cruise be damned. He should have won that award.
It's a travesty that even Viola Davis was nominated.
Yes, exactly.
Why?
I mean, even like the rest of the nominees weren't super inspired. So the other nominees, I noticed that Jason Momoa was on there. I think Chris Hemsworth should have been nominated for Extraction 2. I think that would have been a better nomination for that. There was a lot of movies.
If all of it is CGI anyway,
Yep.
How is that? How is that really impressive? You're on a bunch of invisible strings in a green screen room.
Tom Cruise is like, no, I'm not. I'm literally jumping off of
I'm talking about the
cliff.
CGI that's in Marvel movies and DC movies. Like, why was Guardians of the Galaxy even on this list?
Yeah. It doesn't really make any sense. And again, I think that Denzel should have been nominated. Granted, there wasn't a whole bunch of the action in Equalizer 3 was was basically condensed down to like a couple of big action scenes at the beginning, one in the middle, and then one at the end, and the rest of it's actually a pretty meditative movie in a way. It's very serene, despite the story being so brutal. So it's interesting. But yeah, there was no reason for her to win this award. It's very clearly a rigged system. But yeah, I thought this was funny. Basically, Barbenheimer divides the award season, and it's finally Margot Robbie got to win an award.
She got Best Actress for Barbie at the PCAs.
That's the People's Choice Awards.
Okay, that's the People's Choice.
Same one
but not at the BAFTAs. Nope. And then Emma Stone got Best Actress for Poor Things at the BAFTAs. Yep. So I guess they thought she did a really good job at acting like a baby having sex in an adult woman's body.
And then Ryan Gosling.
Hollywood loves that.
Yes, they do. And Ryan Gosling won for Barbie at the PCAs, and then obviously Cillian Murphy won at the BAFTAs. So makes sense.
I mean, Barbie did have more popular appeal.
Yes.
Made more money. And
I mean, not by a whole,
not by a lot, but
like, considering how much more hype there was for Barbie, then like once that first couple of weeks was over, it became all about Barbie and not about Oppenheimer. But Oppenheimer continued to make a ton of coin.
I'm so ready for award show season to be over.
Yes.
I was hoping that maybe the Oscars happened and I wasn't looking, but they still haven't happened.
Yeah.
That's in March, right?
Yeah, it's coming up. Also,
Just let it be over.
I saw that. Anyone but you, or what's it called?
Anyone But You is the rom-com.
That's like it's past $190 million, so it's coming up on $200 million at the box office.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's doing really,
I
really
wasn't
well.
expecting anyone to like it.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Andrew Jacobs said, "Congrats on becoming a cat father, Brett." Hi, Mary.
I am not a cat father. I did, however, last night. Bucko was being quite rude when I was trying to give him his food. He wouldn't back away. So then when I finally gave him his food and he kept eating, I kind of gave him a look and he just kind of gave me this look of like, nah, and then went back to eating. I haven't been.
He's
around.
not grateful.
I haven't. He never is. And like it's like when you feed him, you're like, okay, thank you, have a nice day.
You have to thank him.
Yes.
For accepting the food. Jacob Paradis said, okay, how about a free gay frog with every purchase of a Narbars candle? We have too many and we have to get rid of them. Totally kidding. This is not a real advertisement. You have too many gay frogs or too many candles?
Both.
You need to be more specific. Shane H. Wilder said, anyone needs some Diablo sauce? They gave me like 2 handfuls for 1 taco. Also, they need to hurry up and release Taco Bell chicken nuggets. They have the chicken crispinata coming in the new 2024 menu items.
Yeah.
And people are who have it at their location.
What the hell is a crispinata?
It's basically an empanada that has like chicken nuggets in it or something. I don't know what it is.
That sounds disgusting.
It has chicken in it. But it doesn't, because I follow the Taco Bell subreddit and people who have locations that are selling the crispinata are posting pictures of it, and it basically is filled with air.
Yeah.
So I don't have high hopes for that. They're not sending their best. Corey Anderson said, when I say youth, I mean 20-year-olds. Yeah, the 20-year-olds aren't good at functioning as adults. That's definitely true. Not that Jon Stewart said, stick web, haha, better than all the jokes in the movie. Good one, Mary. Wait, what did I say?
I don't get it. Let's hold off on the rest. Let's hold off on the rest, and we'll come back after the fact. Let's move on. Let's talk about Madam Web, guys. Madam Web came out last weekend, and we did a review. I lost my mind a little bit while doing the review because the movie was so ridiculous, but it didn't do well. It actually got completely destroyed by the Bob Marley biopic. Over the weekend, Madam Web made just $17.6 million in the traditional 3-day weekend, but because it's a holiday weekend, they called it the 6-day weekend.
Neon tweeted, only in Hollywood can a weekend be 6 days. I can't wait for the 6-week weekend of Thanksgiving through New Year's Day.
So Madam Web made 17.6 over the regular weekend, 25.8 over the long weekend. The Bob Marley movie made $27.7 million over the regular weekend and $51 million over the long weekend. And not to mention that, but the Bob Marley movie is also scoring higher in Rotten Tomatoes score from both fans and critics. It's got 41% from critics, though not good, still better than the 13% from Madam Web, and 93 from fans. 93 from fans. Madam Web sitting at 13% from critics and 55% from the audience.
And it should be lower. Yeah. No matter what it is, it should be lower.
Also remember that when Morbius came out, it made $39 million in its opening weekend.
Which is still disappointing, but this is another level of failure.
Oh, also, the Dune re-release made $30 million.
This is a record-setting failure.
And I think, like, budget.
I wouldn't want to be Dakota Johnson right now. And she's not having the best time. She's looking like she hates her life on all of these interviews that she's doing for the press tour. She was on SNL and said that Madam Web is like an AI-generated movie that your boyfriend likes because it has Sydney Sweeney in it. Actually, they're like, oh, everyone's hating the movie. Mention that Sydney Sweeney is in it.
Speaking of boyfriends and insights on the audience, we also saw this bit from Deadline that says, you know who did like the movie? 12-year-olds and dads.
Yeah, they're scoring it higher than everyone else.
12-year-old boys and dads.
Yeah, that's
53% of guys attending versus 47% of women. However, it said Sony went after young women with Madam Web, with 75 of its $60 million global budget for marketing allocated towards social media and TikTok.
Madam Web is another dud, but at least fans like what they see with Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney.
I think they like what they see from Sydney Sweeney. I don't know if they care much about Dakota Johnson.
That one clip of Sydney Sweeney in the mask, in the suit, it has like a full 0.2 seconds in the actual movie, and it's the only screen cap that's getting posted in all of these articles.
For some reason, parents, mostly dads at 62%, and kids under 12 saw a different movie. They both gave it 4.5 stars.
It's just not even worth it for Sydney Sweeney because she's not in the costume.
And here's the thing. Women didn't come out to see it. It doesn't work. I saw this, and we'll get back to the rest of this stuff, but there's this thing that was going around today. Silk Spider Society is reportedly going through a creative overhaul. Entire writer's room has been fired except for the showrunner, Angela Kang, and will be refocused to a more male-skewing audience. Guess what? It was always, and always will be, a male-skewing audience.
Even if you have an all-female cast in a
not
superhero film, it doesn't mean that women are going to be interested in it.
Does not, and they'll never learn that lesson. And I think a big part of it is like it's becoming a thing of legend just how bad this press tour has been for Dakota Johnson, who seems like she hates her life with every interview.
Is that the kind of shtick persona that she's trying to do?
Almost
like
Bobby Althoff.
It's not giving Bobby Althoff, and it's not even giving Aubrey Plaza. It's just giving, you hate your life and you don't want to be there.
That's what I wrote in my notes for this movie. I wrote that she's doing like bad Aubrey Plaza during the movie.
But it's like, you're supposed to be playing a character, but she's playing Dakota Johnson, and nobody even really likes Dakota Johnson's actual personality.
What did you say? She refused to wear low-rise jeans for a movie set in 2003?
There are two clips here. Dakota Johnson said that she will not be watching Madam Web as a form of self-care. So let's take a look at that first.
Okay, so we'll watch the...
Yeah, she was in this radio interview.
I haven't actually seen the movie.
Haven't you? When you go to a premiere, do you sit there or do you go out the back door and go to a nice restaurant?
I'll go to have dinner.
I know. Love your honesty.
Yeah, I probably won't. I don't know when I'll see it.
Hopefully never.
I mean, I understand. I don't ever rewatch anything we do, but it's not really the same thing.
No.
Have you watched your other movies?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't like to.
Well, I was going to say, your parents are actors. I don't know if you've ever taken advice from them, or is it a way to keep grounded? Is it a way to not see yourself on the big screen and to not believe the hype?
Oh, for me, it's a way to not have like an existential crisis. For me, it's not watching my movies is like self-care.
Okay. Do you not Google yourself as well?
No, God, no.
No, you never do.
Oh my God.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's smart.
But look, like, she clearly isn't proud of this movie. I mean, I definitely had an existential crisis when I watched Madam Web, so I understand her.
And it's just weird because I think like when people think of people who are going to be in superhero movies, they don't think of somebody this reserved and this closed off. Like you think of somebody who's going to emote more and be more present in the interview. It's very low key.
I would be more impressed if she's like this in her interviews and her actual character was a different person, but she wasn't acting. This is just who she is. And then in this other part of the interview, she said she refused to wear low-rise jeans for Madam Web, even though it's set in 2003.
Do your job.
Like, get over yourself. Also, she's skinny. She looks good in low-rise jeans.
What Cassie wears in the film.
Yeah.
Come on.
I fought for that.
Did you?
Yeah, because I wasn't going to wear low-rise jeans.
I'm not going to do my job. They're paying me millions of dollars. Why the hell would I do my job?
With the thong
Not
showing the,
Don't have to do that part of it.
The girls in the movie, they pull it off really well.
Yes.
And I feel like she's...
Oh, I mean, maybe the argument is that she's older. So
I mean, come on. She's supposed to be 33,
30-something, yeah.
whatever.
So that mom jeans.
That
and
makes sense.
Doc Martens.
Exactly.
moms weren't wearing mom jeans in 2003. Moms didn't start wearing mom jeans until regular, like, younger girls started wearing mom jeans as fashion trend.
I'm fairly certain that in 2003, you would see women in their early 30s wearing low-rise jeans because that's just what you wore in 2003. But who am I to say? I also looked at a whole thread of awful clips from this press tour. In one of them, she acted really awkward when an earthquake erupted in the middle of her interview.
Let's watch this clip here.
She was like, is this my cue to leave?
Oh, pause, hold on.
Women.
Is that an earthquake? Okay, we just had an earthquake. Did you just do that?
Did I?
She's like, can I leave now?
Do you like that we all just...
Look at this. It's the awkward zoom in.
Did I? Do you like that we all just sat here?
This is, yeah, that was like very like...
Fabulous.
That was fabulous. You just had an earthquake, okay.
And
we're just gonna move on, I guess.
Continuing. There will be an aftershock. That was a big earthquake.
It feels so weird moving on after that, after our earthquake.
The reporter's just dying of awkwardness.
She makes everything awkward, okay? And then in this next one, there was a clip of her saying, you know, this line in the movie that she delivered terribly, and then it went viral because it was awful. And she won't acknowledge the fact that it was delivered terribly because she's supposed to be promoting it.
You aware there was a line from the trailer that went sort of viral? Do you remember that?
What was
it? It was the line that says, "He was in the Amazon with my mum."
She looks so
was researching
angry.
spiders right before she died. Do you remember that going viral?
Why did that go viral?
I think it went viral because out of context, people were just like, "What does this mean?"
No, they were thinking it was awful.
Did you catch that at all?
No. Somebody brought this up and I have no idea what
to be fair, she did say she doesn't look herself up online or know what's going on. You'd think she'd have like some type of assistant who would help her with this. Clue you in.
It's about.
There were lots of memes because I think people were like, "What is?"
She just looks like somebody who hates memes.
There were a lot of memes because of how bad the line was. There were memes because she acted really badly.
And I think what it is, I think that she just doesn't like memes. That would be
I
my
think
guess.
she just doesn't like doing interviews and she doesn't like acting, but she's just kind of here because she's a Nepo baby.
Yeah.
She like hates acting, but will also take any job that's offered to her and hates promoting it and hates watching it.
She's like, I just can't wait for my parents to just leave me their money so I don't have to do this anymore.
Every single clip, if you look at this full thread, she just looks so dejected. And she also admitted that she has never watched a Marvel movie. She said I've seen like 4% of one Marvel movie, like 15 minutes. And I'm not saying like in order to act in a Marvel movie, you need to watch every single Marvel movie in existence. But you can do a little bit of background research on what you're doing, right?
There's also like an argument to be made that back in the day, the people who started working on these projects were actually passionate about them, which is why they came out well.
It's like she's trying to sell the movie on how nonchalant she is.
It's like people would talk about how like when Stephen Amell took over the role as Oliver Queen in the show Arrow, he could tell you where what caused every fake scar that he had to have drawn on his body. He could tell you what scene caused that. What was the reason for that?
Yeah,
because he was passionate about the character.
That's cool, but like I'm not even asking for that level of, you know, encyclopedic knowledge of the MCU or whatever of the character you're playing, but she just seems like she hates her life.
She's mad that she'll never do anything as cool as Miami Vice or Nash Bridges, so her dad will always be cooler than her.
I think she's mad because she thought she was going to be in the MCU and then realized that she wasn't. I think that's what she's mad about.
Yep, but it wasn't just that, guys. It wasn't just that failing for Madame Web over the weekend. There was also a hilarious breakdown in which Joe Russo got into it with a bunch of people over... wait, hold on. I have to go back here. So Joe Russo, this guy was tweeting a bunch over what was going on with Madame Web. And
which Marvel movies did he direct?
Okay. I actually think I was wrong about that. I think that it's just a guy named Joe Russo, and it's not the Joe Russo.
It's not the Russo
No,
bro.
It's not the Russo bro, which is better, but still not the same thing.
He was reacting to Chris Stuckman's review or non-review of Madam Web, essentially saying that he's right. You know, if you learned how hard it is to make a movie, then you wouldn't be crapping on Madam Web right now, and they deserve a benefit of the doubt because they worked hard. So don't insult the movie, even though it's bad.
Which is not really...
it's like, do better.
I've actually... there's been more than a few times where we've done movie reviews where I've actually, like, thrown that in there, right? Like, how difficult it is to make a movie matters. So, but the thing is me acknowledging that does not mean that it's fair enough for you to expect the audience to know that.
Chris Stuckman's video, I think, was absolutely ridiculous. And I understand that he's saying this from the perspective of somebody who made an indie film, and he understands more about the process and the process of pitching scripts to studios. But when you get a script accepted by a studio, they are taking a risk on you. They're spending money on your creativity, giving your idea a chance, and you are giving up creative control in a lot of ways when you do that. And I guess that his point was, you know, if they hadn't changed the script, if they hadn't done a bunch of reshoots, then Madam Web would have been good. Yeah. But that doesn't change the fact that Dakota Johnson's performance was awful.
The one thing I never saw mentioned was nobody talked about her performance or the guy who played Zeke.
The problem isn't just that we had two writers from Morbius on Madam Web who were failing upwards. It's that all of the actors were doing a shitty job, aside from who was that guy that played Ben?
Adam Scott.
Adam Scott was fine. Everyone else was awful.
But the writer of the movie who did Morbius, the 2017 Power Rangers, Madam Web, Dracula, and Gods of Egypt, and The Last Witch Hunter, which are all movies, some of those were commercially successful, but all were panned by critics, right? That's a problem.
Also, Chris Stuckman had a sponsor for BetterHelp in his video about Madam Web, which says a lot. Like, you might be needing online therapy services after watching this movie.
Like, this is almost one of those topics where there's just too much to get into. But the point is like, look, not doing a review is a review in and of itself for something like this. If you choose not to criticize anything and all you have to say is to deflect to something else that caused the problem, that's the problem in and of itself.
Yeah, he said, if you Twitter trolls were like Chris and actually learned how hard it is to make a movie instead of just crying about them from your mom's basement, you too would make videos like this one.
Correct.
And then he had this whole thread where he started arguing with people. He said, this blame the writer thing is bonkers. Do trolls have jobs with bosses? Are those bosses infallible? Why are we blaming creatives and not executive meddling? I've read Matt's writing on two of these. This is Matt Sazama, who is on Morbius, as well as Madam Web. It's good and not what's on screen. He keeps working because he's great. And then he quoted, you wouldn't believe how good a writer you have to have the opportunity to write a bad movie. He's essentially blaming Sony for meddling in the script, making changes. And Chris Stuckman said he doesn't believe that a writer wrote the scene where a Pepsi logo crashes down onto the film's villain and kills him. Like, I get that product placement was a huge part of it.
I can't believe they allowed that to be the death scene.
And that shouldn't have made it to the end result. And I don't know if a writer was to blame for it or if Sony is to blame for it. But there were other issues in the film that probably couldn't have been fixed by just leaving the creatives alone and letting them do their job. Like,
it's also,
sometimes bad writers do fail upwards in Hollywood and keep getting jobs.
It's also ridiculous to think that means that you're above criticism at all. You've signed on to do this. This is your job now, is you're going to be the punching bag. You're going to be paid a whole ton of money to do this. And he says something at the end where he says, like, they hire known, and I point this out all the time. When we talk about Marvel, when people would be like, I have like a list over there of like the actual like bigger name directors who have directed Marvel movies. It's like 7, 8, or 9 directors, right? But there have been like 33 or 34 Marvel movies by now. And the reason they hire lesser known directors is because Marvel's in charge, not you.
Well, the claim is that the big studios are meddling in these movies and making the end result bad. And that claim is totally unfalsifiable because it's not public knowledge what was a writer's idea and what was a studio executive's idea. So if you don't know, you're basically giving the studio all the credit for every mistake and giving the writer all the credit for every success, which makes zero sense. And you're just giving them a participation award, essentially, for even being there. And he said, I read the scripts for Gods of Egypt and Dracula. They were significantly different from the end product. So what happened between them writing great specs and the end product? I just think this is a ridiculous idea to constantly favor the writer and the creative when sometimes creative people also make mistakes.
There was others tweets here where somebody says, I hate this. Everybody knows that people work hard on movies. We know. It doesn't mean a bad movie isn't bad. I'm not talking about studio meddled movies. I just mean bad movies. Yes, everyone worked hard on Transformers 6. It was still shit, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. And he says, and we hate you.
Who's we?
Them in general. So he says, but just because a chef works very hard on making a dish or meal, that doesn't mean the food still can't food poison. Yeah. He says, but you're acting like the chef is the one adding the poison and not the restaurant owner. I love the...
Someone said, there are no such thing as bad writers. Matt Sazama didn't write anything at all that appeared in Madam Web, and studios are always 100% of the time solely responsible for subpar movies.
Exactly.
How can you possibly expect anyone to take you seriously?
And then, exactly. And
he's simping. He's simping for the writers.
He also says, what about the non-trolls who criticize movies? They should learn how memovies are actually made, too, if they're going to genuinely critique them. That's the media literacy argument.
You can't criticize the president because you don't know what kind of pressures come with being the president.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. This doesn't apply to any other profession. We're allowed to criticize anyone. I mean, what? So I have car troubles right now. If I brought my car into an auto center and I asked them to fix a certain problem and then they gave it back to me with 5 more problems, I should just, leave happy and leave a good Yelp review because I'm sure that they worked really hard on my car.
Yeah.
Even if they did a bad job, I'm sure that they worked really hard, and it just must be so hard to be them.
And the critics in Stuckman's video were actually heavily critical of what he was saying. Like, look, there's nothing wrong with criticizing a bad movie for being bad. Also, we can't know what the studio interference was. All you have to go by is what you see on screen.
How to say Madam Web sucks without saying Madam Web sucks.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Chris Stuckman, but you explained to me.
Well, yeah,
the reason why he's saying this is because
now that he works in the industry, he's chosen by his own choice because he was always just a regular movie reviewer, very, very popular, much like Jeremy Johns. And when he started working in the industry, he says, I'm no longer going to review movies that I don't like. I'm going to focus on the movies that I do like. But he still wanted to talk about Madam Web, which means that he had to talk about it in a way that allowed him to criticize it without criticizing the people who actually made the movie. How do you do that? You criticize the studio meddling. But now you want to have your cake and eat it too. Is it a movie review or is it a critique of the Hollywood system? Because they're not the same thing.
And I know what that sounds like is as soon as this guy wanted to start working in the film industry and wanted to make industry connections, he went from a film critic or film reviewer into a film praiser.
Yeah.
And every movie deserves a participation award. And that's just not honest.
Well,
that's disingenuous.
It's not just about not being honest. It's not helpful for the people who are actually using your reviews as a means of deciding whether you're going to see it or not.
Yeah, and he's saying vote with your dollar on what movies you like. Well, we went to the theater to give it a chance, but that doesn't. They still profited off of us.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing is stupid.
Yep. Let's go to Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, okay, Mary, have you ever had to do confession with the priest with the strong accent? I've been through that before with a priest with a strong accent and had to ask them to repeat my penance. Yeah, I did. It was difficult because it's the type of person who ends every sentence with a question, but you're not sure whether you're supposed to answer the question, and then he just keeps going. Bucky Ducky said, let's go, Brandon?
Yeah, basically.
NYBSFP said, since I made 10 times my investment in those shoes overnight.
Yeah, they were selling on eBay for like thousands of dollars.
They're out of stock then?
Yep, they sold out and they were going on eBay for
how
like
much were they?
They're like $3.99, like $400.
Okay, that's
and then
reasonable.
they were going on eBay for like $4,000 or something.
They're going to be worth tens of thousands, like 10 years from now. Annie Still said, to your point, Brett, Cillian Murphy has his own podcast. It's a music show on the BBC.
Perfect. Well, I'd still like to see him with the Nelk Boys or...
So he has a podcast that's about music?
I guess.
That's kind of random. Gal Gadurp said, I'm beginning to understand what Alzheimer's must feel like. You guys mentioned Young Thug and Fannie Willis, and my mind asks, who? Where's my pudding?
Young Thug is a rapper, obviously, along with Gunna, and YSL was the name of the record label and the street gang.
And Fannie Willis was responsible for indicting Trump, and she had an affair with one of the special prosecutors.
Let's do one more.
Okay, Corey Anderson said, does that attorney know she isn't black?
You would have to ask her that. I have no idea.
I think that someone should let her know.
Yeah.
PSA to this woman, you are in fact white.
All right, let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after the fact. Let's go ahead and talk about Kelly Osbourne. She says that if you can't get thin, you're just poor.
Kelly Osbourne is singing the praises of Ozempic. She is proudly using Ozempic to lose weight, and she definitely is evidently more skinny than she used to be. I think that this woman also admitted to getting a gastric bypass surgery in the past for weight loss reasons. So if you're turning to Ozempic and you're turning to surgeries and sketchy pills to lose weight, you're not the type of person with the willpower to go on a diet and exercise to get healthy.
What did she say exactly?
Yeah, so here is her full quote. There are millions of ways to lose weight. Why not do it through something that isn't as boring as working out? The people who hate on it are the most... or the people who hate on it the most are the people who are secretly doing it, or they're pissed off that they can't afford it.
I can actually tell you the reason why you should do it through exercise, because it's actually good for you mentally to get exercise. It's good for your self-confidence. It's good for a whole host of other reasons other than just the physical benefits. It actually makes you go out and do something. You always feel better after doing it. For instance, every time I go out and skate, even if I wasn't in the mood to do so, I always feel better once I'm done. Getting any amount of cortisol and getting the adrenaline going, getting your blood pressure, getting your heart rate up, it's good for you. Not your blood pressure. You don't want to get your blood pressure up.
I don't think that Kelly Osbourne would sit here and say that exercise isn't good for you. I think that she just freely admits she's not willing to do it.
Yep.
Because it's difficult.
Correct.
And that's the mindset that is causing all of these celebrities to go on Ozempic and lie about it, because they're going to tell you like, oh, I just drank kale smoothies and went on my Peloton. But they're not going to tell you the truth, which is that they took a medication for diabetic patients and are causing a shortage of it in the market. Someone responded, pissed off they can't afford it. I've been rationing my diabetic medication for weeks because my medication is on back order because you bitches want to be skinny.
That's crazy. That's crazy that it's being allowed to be prescribed off label when it's when a shortage is actually causing problems for the people who need it for its legitimate purpose.
Yeah, independent pharmacies are also saying it's on back order to insurance customers and are actually saving it for non-insurance customers so they can pay full price for it. Oof. Which means a bunch of crooked doctors in LA and in New York City are saving up all of the Ozempic for vain celebrities who want to use it to throw up all their meals and lose weight, because they don't have the willpower or the self-discipline to simply eat less. They're going to instead trick their bodies into thinking that they've been gorged all the time. And it kind of kills you. I mean, the side effects for this are absolutely insane. It will make you projectile vomit. It ages your skin. You start looking like a wax figure at Madame Tussauds. And you might be skinny, but think about the trade-offs, right? And another trade-off is that you lost your dignity.
There's a picture. I mean, she doesn't look healthy to me, but I don't know. Like
maybe this is just what she looks like skinny, and we're not used to seeing her skinny.
Her face is just really hollow looking.
She's definitely not the best at phrasing things appropriately. The most famous example of which is her saying, how are you going to deport all of the Hispanic people? Who's going to clean your toilets, Donald Trump? And that's still, to this day, what most people know her for. But I think we also talked about Kelly Osbourne recently because she said plastic surgery was on her Christmas gift wish list. Like Santa is going to give her a BBL. But in the past, it's weird. Kelly Osbourne has denied rumors that she's had plastic surgery on her face. She said, I've never done anything to my face other than a couple of injections in my lips, in my jaw, and in my forehead. And Osbourne has also had gastric bypass surgery for weight loss in 2018. So what you did is you went into a surgery to staple your stomach into a smaller shape so that you would eat less because you're addicted to gorging yourself on massive amounts of food. And then you continued overeating until you gained all the weight back again. And then you found out about this miracle weight loss drug where you inject yourself with diabetic medication and you can't process food anymore.
And her mom had a poor response to Ozempic.
Her mom tried Ozempic?
Yeah. Okay, so this is Sharon Osbourne expressed regret over taking the drug Ozempic for weight loss, saying she now weighs less than 100 pounds and can't put on weight. Says, I was injecting myself with Ozempic, Osbourne said, adding, now I now weigh 7 stone and can't put on weight. In British weight, a measurement, a stone is equivalent to 14 pounds. She said her husband, Ozzy, says, I look like Nancy Reagan, whose small frame was the subject of scrutiny from the media during her husband's time in office. She'd previously talked about the experience taking the drug for weight loss in an interview with the Daily Mail last year. She warned those interested in Ozempic to be careful what you wish for. So Kelly is not taking her mom's advice.
What kind of quack doctor would give a drug like this to someone who is already elderly? Like, you're essentially on death's door now.
She says, I started Ozempic last December and I've been off of it for a while now, but my warning would be don't give it to teenagers. It's just too easy.
Well, of course it shouldn't be given to teenagers as well. Like, I know that Kelly Osbourne, she's 39 years old. And when you are older, it's more difficult to lose weight because your metabolism is slower. But when your metabolism slows down, it also means that you have less of an appetite. It means that you don't need to eat as much food to just live. So, I mean, everything comes with a trade-off. I think that this comment is just incredibly tone deaf, though.
It's going to hurt to the diabetics who need to get their
obviously,
get their medication, and they can't get it.
Yeah, I even heard there was a rare eating disorder that affects people who already have diabetes, where they just don't take their insulin and so that they can eat without processing the sugar. And it makes them lose weight rapidly, and they essentially are killing themselves by doing this. It's like extremely dangerous. And who's to say what risks come with Ozempic long term? Because this is all about a short-term solution. This is an instant gratification culture where we want an instant reward, and you're not willing to put in the simple effort of dieting and exercise. I mean, how much, I'm not saying that it's easy to lose weight, but I am calling it simple. The advice has always been the same. You just eat less and you move more. The simple thermodynamics, but for some people that's too much to ask.
Also, for a lot of them, it's just the next in a long line of problems that they've had with whether it was cocaine or methamphetamine or diet pills or Adderall or anything that suppresses your appetite as a way of preventing yourself from gaining weight. And it also now it's also had a side effect in Hollywood where any actress who loses any substantial amount of weight is automatically assumed to be on Ozempic, which is kind of a bummer because it's kind of happening to dudes the other way. Dudes that all get in shape, they're like, oh, they're on TRT and HGH. So all the ones who actually put in the work to get in shape naturally are like,
So then you feel like, what's even the point if I'm not going to get the credit for putting effort in, and everyone's just going to say you're on Ozempic or you're on steroids?
It's like when
you might as well just go by the fake route.
It's like when people accused Nicolas Cage of having CGI abs in Ghost Rider. He's like, I'm never working out for a movie again if they're just going to accuse me of faking it.
This is seriously some like medical malpractice that is not going to be addressed here. There are women who are fully obsessed with plastic surgery and fully addicted to getting injections in their face. They're addicted to Botox. They're addicted to weight loss. They're addicted to surgically altering their bodies. And doctors who are entertaining this behavior are not going to pay the price for it, which is really dangerous.
And they never do, right? No matter what shortages of things. I remember there was the thing where, so Dr. Terry Dubrow says, was like saying that there's nothing wrong with Ozempic because Jillian Michaels said that there was problems with, Jillian Michaels is. So it says, Jillian Michaels gave Dr. Terry Dubrow a taste of his own medicine. This after he implored people to ignore her anti-Ozempic stance because she's merely a personal trainer.
So you can get slandered as an anti-vaxxer, and you can also get slandered as anti-Ozempic.
We got Jillian Michaels. This is, by the way, this is an old story. I just remembered it because somebody brought up Jillian Michaels in the chat. They got her on Thursday, who says, contrary to what Dubrow believes, she's actually the foremost expert when it comes to helping people lose weight, and says that she shared her same view, that he shared the same views of the drug not that long ago, pulling up receipts for evidence. Jillian cites a July 2023 New York Post interview where the botch star, that's the doctor, where sure enough, he urged the weight loss community to raise awareness of the dangers of Ozempic, saying it could cost people his life. Well, I think that the pharmaceutical fairy showed up at his office and said that there might be a bonus in it for him if he just goes against that stance. I don't think that's super hard to believe.
Wow. So doctors are peddling drugs to patients in order to get a kickback from insurance companies? That's crazy.
That wouldn't actually happen.
They would never, because they took a Hippocratic oath to do no harm. So I just know that that's already impossible.
That's what I've heard.
Also, I wanted to bring up this recent controversy with Amy Schumer because she recently appeared on Jimmy Fallon's show. She's promoting this show that she has on Hulu with Michael Cera. But she appeared very different to how we remember her. Her face is noticeably swollen, and it doesn't look like she just gained weight. It looks like someone got like stung by a bee. It looks like she stepped on a bee. Let's look at this clip of her, because I really don't think that this is normal for just gaining weight. She's been overweight for a long time and never looked like this.
This one?
This looks like some kind of medical issue.
Competing with who's been filling up our feeds? Beyonce and Taylor Swift. Like this is who I'm competing with. I love.
It's
both
hard
of
to
them,
see at the angle,
but it's like, did you see them in concert? I went.
Yeah.
It is life changing. Life changing. The audiences
Press X
I
to
left
doubt.
there, taller, stronger,
not skinnier,
wetter. Okay, I'm sorry. And the most I can hope that I can do to an audience is them go, huh. It's like I can't compete with
you
this.
see what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
And in this picture of her, like, I don't know, this doesn't look normal. This doesn't look like the result of someone just gaining weight, because her face never looked like this before. And then she decided to respond to the rumors of what's going on with her because people were genuinely concerned. She said on Instagram, "Thank you so much for everyone's input about my face. I've enjoyed feedback and deliberation about my appearance as all women do for almost 20 years. And you're right, it is puffier than normal right now. I have endometriosis, an autoimmune disease that every woman should read about. I will add, endometriosis is not an autoimmune disease. So that's just fact checking you right there. There are some medical and hormonal things going on in my world right now, but I'm okay. Historically, women's bodies have barely been studied medically compared to men. The book All in Her Head does a good job of explaining this. I also believe a woman doesn't need any excuse for her personal for her physical appearance and owes no explanation, but I wanted to take the opportunity to advocate for self-love and acceptance of the skin you're in. Like every other woman/person, some days I feel confident and good as hell, and others I want to put a bag over my head. But I feel strong and beautiful and so proud of this show I created, wrote, starred in, and directed. Maybe, just maybe, we can focus on that for a little. I had backup dancers on Jimmy Fallon, but my face is the headline. Anyway, I hope you enjoy life, and Beth. Love and solidarity, Amy.
You don't get to be a public figure and opt out of public scrutiny. That's not the way the world works.
You also don't get to just say that something is an autoimmune disease when it's not. And everyone in the comments was saying that.
Yeah.
Someone said, medical fact, endometriosis is not classed as an autoimmune disease. I have Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disease. This is an inflammatory disease instead. You're spreading misinformation. Another one said, you ridiculed and bullied Nicole Kidman and you're mad when it happens to you. You did the exact same thing to Nicole Kidman, judging her appearance. So there's that. And I looked into that and I think it's kind of BS. She just posted a picture of Nicole Kidman where she was sitting kind of weird at a sports game. And she said like she looked like an alien pretending to be human. But she wasn't exactly cyberbullying the woman. Most of them are mad because Amy Schumer is a Zionist, though.
That's the world we live in now, where you pick your rung of who's going to yell at you.
Yeah, and then someone said, I'm not a fan of Amy Schumer. Here we have right-leaning people heckling a woman's face yet again, then wondering why women are obsessed with looks. Autoimmune issues are extremely common. This is where, quote-unquote, Republicans are spending their time. Puke.
Is there any proof of that?
I don't think that it was just Republicans who were pointing out that she looked different. That's a little bit
I would
ridiculous.
imagine that the Republicans would be busy spending their time on other issues of the culture war. This doesn't really seem like a place where they would end up going.
Yeah, I don't know. This is weird. But yeah, I just hope that Amy Schumer is okay and not on her phone right now.
It is really ridiculous to expect people to not make some type of judgment. I'm very sick of this idea that you get to have all the cake and eat it too. Like, you don't get to do both. You don't get to be a star. You don't get to go on the Tonight Show and do all of these things that just boost your ego and expect none of the pushback. That's not healthy either. It's not good for you. And the kumbaya idea that we're all going to get along all the time. And I'm somebody who is a lot less willing to argue. Like, I'm not going to argue with people about a lot of stuff. Like, I do not sit on the internet and argue with people. But the idea that you get to have your public-facing image put out there for everyone to see and not expect people to discuss it in the comments is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's not attached to reality in any way, shape, or form. And
like, we're all just supposed to pretend that nothing's different to make you feel good.
Here's the thing. I don't even notice it. Like, if she never mentioned it, I would have never noticed it. And like, that's just stupid. And it's
I don't know. This got
immature.
millions and millions of views on Twitter. I think that, you know, a lot of people did notice the difference, and there's nothing wrong with that because you're doing an image focused job.
Did you see Halle Bailey?
It's show business.
Halle Bailey was at the PCAs and she's just skinny again.
Yeah, well, she's only like 2 months postpartum. Very impressive. I hope it's not Ozempic. I hope it's not Ozempic. She cannot be breastfeeding that baby on Ozempic. The baby's gonna get skinny.
There's a $20 one there from Big Dave.
I had gastric sleeve surgery in 2020. Highest weight of 380 plus, documented at 367.2. Before that, my surgery saved my life and possibly my family by example. Now 6'4", 230 at 54 years old and much more active. Yeah, I'm not trying to slam gastric bypass surgery as like, this never works for people. This is never a solution for people. But for a lot of examples, they get the surgery and then don't change their lifestyle after the fact.
Yeah.
If you get the surgery and then you don't change any of your habits, then you might as well have not bothered, right? And that's what happened for Kelly Osbourne, because clearly she gained the weight back and then felt like she needed to take Ozempic.
Somebody in the comments about Halle Bailey says, baby's going to come out with a thigh gap.
No! Someone save that baby. The baby's also living with Austin McBroom, which is weird.
I just, I look at this and people like Amy Schumer, but also like a Melissa McCarthy. Their size has played a role in their appeal for a lot of people.
What is the appeal of Amy Schumer?
Some people just like that type of humor, and you know, there have been men who have that same, you know, bigger men who play into that as well.
But is that really the same thing for women? I don't know. Like, Rebel Wilson played Fat Amy. I get that. That's like part of her character.
And then, you can't win. She lost the weight, and then they got pissed at her for that. The same thing with Adele.
That's valid. Like, there is a sense for a lot of these people that you can't win. You're going to get criticized no matter what, because if you're fat and then you lose weight, you're not representing fat positivity anymore.
I did see a funny tweet that said, this life Adele lives where she works 6 months and then disappears for 7 years is the type of work-life balance I'm trying to find. It does feel that way. She does stuff for a couple of months and then she's just gone for like half a decade.
It's a nice way to do it.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Well, when you're actually talented.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do all your work at once. All right, let's go to Super Chats, and we're just going to hang out. We're going to hang out until 5.
Shane H. Wilder said, I want to see her in court. Judge, my client didn't do that ish. That's cap for real, for real.
That would be awesome.
That would be the Zoomer lawyer.
That would be awesome.
Corey Anderson said, in regards to Madonna, maybe Sean Penn was in the right?
What did he say?
What did Sean Penn do?
I forgot.
I don't know. You're not on screen, Brett. Well, Shane H. Wilder said, Madonna concerts sponsored by Life Alert.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. Or like, have you ever seen those motorcycle jackets that like turn into like a life preserver if you crash?
No.
Yeah, it's like you fall off the bike in it. Yeah.
I thought that what you needed to protect yourself from is like all of your skin flaying off if you fly into the road. That's why you need to wear leather.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, I love movies. I love lamp.
I love movies and... Yes.
Wait, what?
From the Rachel Zegler.
Surenko Productions said Rachel Zegler winning action star. Weird.
Just a little weird. It would be one thing if it was in a year where there wasn't so much heavy competition, but Tom Cruise not winning that award is ridiculous.
Yeah, or Keanu Reeves. Yep. Bucky Ducky said, drop the list, Brett.
Maybe someday I will. It's kind of all mixed in with just a generic list of like TV shows and stuff. There's a separate list for TV shows, a separate list for movies, and then a separate list for you're wrong about how female action stars or good female characters is a new thing. It's not a new thing.
Maybe you should write that into an article for Timcast.
Perhaps.
That'd be fun. Frankentosh said, boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys. Okay. Corey Anderson said, bring back the grilled stuffed burrito.
Is it a thing?
I don't know. I do browse the Taco Bell subreddit, but I'm not aware of all of these.
I was very basic with my Taco Bell order.
Rhaegar Targaryen said, whatever happened to actors thanking God at awards shows? It's almost as if most of them don't believe in something greater than themselves.
I mean, even when they did it before, most of them probably didn't.
Yeah. Was it Chris Pratt?
Yes.
What award show was he at?
I don't remember, but that's
Chris
we
Pratt
got dinged for copyright when we played that last time.
Yeah, Chris Pratt thanked God at an award show, and then he got backlash for it, didn't he?
Well, he didn't just thank God. He made a whole speech about God and giving yourself over to God that a lot of people liked and a lot of people didn't like.
So they just think that he laid it on too thick?
Yeah. It was like he was being awarded some type of achievement award. It wasn't like he didn't win an award. It was like a special ceremony for him.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes things.
Yes.
But also, like, didn't he have to issue an additional statement saying like, yeah, like I'm religious, but I'm not like that religious.
This was years later after that. That award show is from several years before that.
Bender the Offender said, this past week in video game territory has been nothing but I'm doing my part and slaying bugs on a distant planet for democracy.
Yeah, everybody this weekend was talking about the politics of Starship Troopers, which is just something I don't feel like arguing with people about.
Do you know about it?
I haven't
or-
read the book. I have my thoughts on the movie, but I don't have really, really deep thoughts on the movie. But a lot of people do. Obviously there's a really big Sargon video from back in the day talking about it. But I like the movie, but I'm not over the moon for it like a lot of other people are in this space who love to talk about it as like an allegory to politics.
A lot of people were also talking about X-Men over the weekend. Organized Business Services
they were.
said, if you really break down the Karate Kid movies, Daniel was the real bully, and some people say Bruce Lee could not fight out of a paper bag, and breaking wood or hitting a moving target is very hard.
I don't know if that's true about Bruce Lee.
How is Daniel the real bully?
Definitely cheated in the last scene, and
wait, really?
The kick is that kick is actually not allowed.
Okay, well, I didn't catch that.
But he is kind of a bully. He's kind of a cry bully.
How is he a bully?
Rewatch it and tell me what you think.
I rewatched it relatively recently, so I mean, is it because he's stealing Johnny's girl?
Kind of, yeah.
Is that it?
He's a crybaby.
He's like, I'm stealing your GF, but why are you mad though?
It's also funny because when Cobra Kai comes around and it's exactly what you'd expect, right? It all works out for him. He's got the wife, he's got the kids, he's got the successful business, and Johnny's down and out on his luck. He's very
drunkard.
Hateable. Daniel is very hateable to a certain demographic.
Daniel is hateable in Cobra Kai. I don't think he's as hateable in the original movies.
You're better off watching Three Ninjas anyways.
I liked what they did with the beginning of Cobra Kai, like showing how they all ended up, because it was more realistic. Yep. Corey Anderson said baked potatoes, mashed potatoes, or scalloped potatoes. I say mashed.
Baked potatoes.
Actually, twice baked. Twice baked.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said there are no bad writers. Have they seen movie 43?
There are absolutely bad writers, but there's also bad directors, and there's that. Like I said, there's a line in Madam Web that I criticized heavily. It was the one who's like, "It's a good thing you didn't know today was the day that you were going to die," which is a horrible line. But the best thing they could have done in that scene is to pull a close-up shot of the two of them together instead of having it being like a panning shot from behind him. And it just seems ridiculous and weird at the time because it wasn't shot properly.
Well, is it because they dubbed that in after the fact?
There's also a lot of really bad ADR in that movie where they're saying a line while they're off camera because it's very clearly ADR.
Like that must be why they panned away from him for that.
The line could have been changed. Yep, absolutely.
And as an actor, what can you do with a line like that?
Nothing.
To be fair to the guy, I hated his accent was very weird. Like it wasn't American, but it wasn't foreign. Do you know what I mean? Was that weird to you as well?
They didn't lean into either.
Yeah. Drewish AF said, meth is a hell of a drug, skinny and fast.
Don't want to do that.
But don't. Don't do that to get skinny. Shane H. Wilder said, Amy looks like a hornet's nest fell on her head.
That was rude.
It does look like a medical emergency is happening. Big Dave said, I agree, Mary. It helped me reset my lifestyle. Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal behind doing it. But for a lot of people, it doesn't work like that. Corey Anderson said Sean Penn beat Madonna when they were married.
I didn't know that.
I didn't even know that they were married. Did you know that?
Didn't know that.
Do they have kids? Or are all of her kids adopted from Africa?
Sean Penn is also remember he went to Ukraine last year to film a documentary.
Yeah, all I know is that he's like a really cringe Ukraine show.
And he gave an Oscar to Zelensky.
Yeah. Bucky Ducky said, yes, please make an article or video. You're wrong about good female characters. We need the well-documented proof.
Look, my examples tend to be more from the television world than they are from the movie world. Off the top of my head, I listed shows like Haven, Sanctuary, Continuum, which are just they were just like the first, Dollhouse, we're just the first. They're not even high-end shows that people love. They're not shows that are looked on super fondly. They're just shows that I remember where the female characters were both considered to be very, very capable, but also willing to be vulnerable with other characters, and they didn't all run on a singular note, nor were they Mary Sue's. So
maybe that means that audiences don't respond well to strong female characters.
There's so many, and I could definitely write an article about it, but I don't think it would work because people want to hear the movie examples because they just seem to catch better with people. The examples that I would want to give are so obscure.
Look for movie examples.
I mean, obviously, somebody mentioned Sarah Connor. Of course, Sarah Connor, but those are the examples. Yes, Alias that's what I was mentioning when I saw Disparu was talking about this. Was Alias is one of those great early examples. That's Jennifer Garner. I think Alias came out in 2000. It was either started in 2000 or ended in 2004. One of the two. Right? And it goes all the way back then. And there's just so many examples. It's just that people really, really want to continue the narrative and pretend like Jennifer Lawrence broke the mold in 2020.
Also, Katniss wasn't a very good character. It wasn't very well-written character.
Yes, somebody mentioned Tomb Raider. Yes, Angelina Jolie was doing awesome female characters. You don't even have to just do that. I would actually say I loved her character in Gone in 60 Seconds. There's all sorts of movies with her that prove that.
Corey Anderson said, when I was younger, I was a shift manager at Taco Bell. Grilled stuffed burrito was amazing.
Now I'm hungry.
Did you get free Taco Bell when you worked there? Bucky Ducky said, every few years, everyone comments about Starship Troopers politics and everyone is getting it wrong. And don't just watch the movie, read the book.
Again, that's why I'm not talking about it. And I don't know. Here's the thing, though. I don't know if they can get it wrong. I think that the idea of art being open to interpretation is fair. You can go by whatever the director or like the writer, like a lot of times the writer will come out and say, that's not what I meant. This is what I meant. Doesn't matter. Once it's out in the public sphere, people can interpret it however they choose to do so. You as the artist have to be okay with that, though.
Gordon Shumway said, bring back the beef Mexi-Melt, chili cheese burrito, and the double-decker taco.
Double-decker taco, I miss. That one was great, and they don't do that one anymore. It's basically a cheesy gordita crunch, but it had like beans between the soft shell and the hard shell.
Sounds like it could be easily messed up.
It was. They were delicious.
I got a crunch wrap the other day that was like flat on one side. Like, were you making this upside down?
It's even better if they were.
Gal Gadurp said, baked, mashed, or scalloped, all wrong choices. The correct answers are sweet potato waffle fries dipped in real maple syrup.
No, I think twice baked is
That's really sweet.
I think twice baked is the correct answer.
Shane H. Wilder said, what about potatoes au gratin?
Not my thing.
James Carroll said, hey, Brett, do you shave your arms? They are very smooth and silky.
You'd have to...
You've never felt his arms? How would you know if they're smooth and silky?
Have you
been breaking into his bedroom at night and feeling his arms?
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Ew.
Or else it gets the hose again. No.
But what if you did for aerodynamic purposes?
Yeah, exactly.
While rollerblading.
Like, yes, chest and arms.
You could try that.
Every single day.
Go full Ken.
That would be amazing.
Big Dave said, hey, congratulations to everyone that figured out stay in good shape scene. I did hope fully you will now. What?
Okay. I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't comprehend a single word of that. But thank you. Corey Anderson said, yes, Mary, I got to make my own creations. You were the Taco Bell test kitchen.
That's amazing.
That's great. Bucky Ducky said, what do you mean Crunchwrap is supposed to be flat? I mean that it was like all air on one side that was like this, and then on the other side was all of the filling for no reason. I felt cheated.
Chat, how's everybody doing today? We got time now. We got time. It's funny because we got one more here from Bucky Ducky. Oh, did you get that one? He says
yes.
Crunchwrap is supposed to be flat. I don't think I've ever even had a Crunchwrap.
I mean, it's not supposed to be flat. Yeah. Like, it's not supposed to be this, that, you know?
Yeah. Somebody says he nares his arms. Is nair the?
It like chemically burns off your hair, I think.
That's disturbing.
I don't think it's supposed to hurt.
That's disturbing.
I don't know. I've never tried this.
They're just arguing about Taco Bell. Look, I haven't had Taco Bell in quite a while now. It's been they reopened the bridge, so now you can get over into West Virginia. So there's a Taco Bell slightly closer, but it's just out of the way now. It's just out of my brain. I don't go that direction very often.
Yeah, so. I'm just waiting for these new menu items because only people who live in like big metropolitan areas are getting them. We got another one from Rhaegar Targaryen. Remember when Sean Penn defended Hugo Chavez as a model Democrat and said those who call him a dictator should be jailed? He even went to visit him? Is that true?
That doesn't sound...
Or are you writing fanfic right now? I feel like I would have heard about that.
There was also, I mean, Sean Penn is, I mean, a lot of these Hollywood celebrities, we all know that they would all wear they would all wear Hugo Chavez stuff, or they would wear, you know,
Che Guevara
shirts. It's not unheard of. I always love how like every rebel character in a TV show has to wear a Che Guevara shirt. They even did it on the show Dark Angel, where the character of Logan Cale would have to wear like a Che Guevara shirt in the first few episodes, just so you can see he's a rebel.
This is crazy. Sean Penn was among the mourners at the funeral of late Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez, who passed away at 58 after a battle with cancer. Sean Penn, who first met Chavez in 2007, expressed his condolences to the family of the president and the people of Venezuela. He also called Hugo Chavez a great hero to the majority of his people and defended him as a model Democrat. In 2013, Sean Penn attended a candlelight vigil for the health of Hugo Chavez in Bolivia, where he expressed his condolences. Damn. This guy is off his rocker. Yeah. Crazy. High Voltage 75 said, Mary, have you tried the breakfast crunch wrap? Yes. So, but it's not a crunch wrap, right? Like, it's smaller than a normal crunch wrap, and instead of the hard shell inside, it's a hash brown. That's like, I don't know. That's not giving crunch wrap.
I've heard people love Taco Bell breakfast though.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it was underwhelming for sure.
I've heard the same thing about like people love Taco Bell breakfast, and a lot of like vegetarians like the White Castle vegetarian options.
Ew.
Yeah.
McDonald's is still elite for fast food breakfast. Bucky Ducky said, try the wrap, Brett. It's my go-to, 10 out of 10.
I haven't been in a long time. Maybe I'll go this week at some point.
Corey Anderson said, YouTube would not let me super chat to meet ladies in church if you are single.
Say that again?
He said, YouTube would not let me super chat to meet ladies in church if you are single.
I don't get it.
This guy is married. I remember that you said you were married. You should not be trying to meet single ladies in church or anywhere.
Definitely not in church.
But anywhere, no. Gal Kaderp said, we put Nair in our camp counselor's shampoo bottle. We also snuck in the girls' cabins and put itching powder in their undies. Life was different before everyone had a camera in their pocket.
Things were so much better back then.
I won't hold it against the kids, you know. Shane H. Wilder said, I do want to try the Taco Bell Cheez-It Crunch Wrap with a giant Cheez-It that is 16 times its normal size inside. Did you hear about that?
No.
It's gonna be like an actual jumbo Cheez-It inside of a Crunch Wrap, and I assume that the Crunch Wrap is gonna be like square shaped. I don't know. I'm gonna try it for sure whenever that's out.
Somebody on Twitter says, just noticed Brodus Foods, and then about the cereal, it says his name, because his name is Calvin Brodus.
Who?
So, Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg's name is Calvin Brodus?
Believe it or not, I guess he wasn't born dog, Snoop.
Okay. I mean, do you think they would sell better if Snoop was on the
why
box?
isn't he on the box, right? Or like a cartoon rendering of Snoop Dogg.
At least.
A sketch therapy says he is telling the single guy to meet single ladies in church. But I don't go to church.
I don't think they were talking to you. I think it was someone in the chat.
So there's somebody in the chat.
They're talking amongst themselves.
Okay, so he goes to church. So.
I guess. Okay. You're mangling that box. Also, I wasn't sure if you wanted the Frosty Drizzlers, but the Fruity Hoops definitely seemed like more your vibe.
Is that what they were actually called?
The Frosty Drizzlers. I think that was what it was called. They're just like mini wheats with sugar on them, right?
Shit.
Like
today is a fucking fever dream.
You were dying earlier because that attorney's client's name was Tenquarius. How is that a name?
Frosty Drizzlers, not something anything should be named.
Oh, sorry, not Frosty. They're Frosted Drizzlers. But yeah, Drizzlers.
Holy shit. Okay.
Big Dave said Sciences of the Lambs.
Oh.
Bucky Ducky said Corey really is a person. ISTG.
Yep. I don't know what the ISTG means.
I swear to gosh.
Oh, to gosh.
Corey
I've done
Anderson.
pretty good on this show, preventing myself from taking the Lord's name in vain.
I appreciate that.
And it's carried over into my life. Kind of like changing how I say the word figure, which I now catch myself halfway through and then have to just fix it. Because there's 37 years of saying it. But I found, over a weekend, I found like 5 examples of TV shows where they say it the way I say it to show you why it's been reinforced in my brain to say it the way that I say it.
It's wrong because that's the way British people say it.
And that's even worse.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to be is like British people.
Chris Carr would be disgusted.
He would be.
Corey Anderson said, not for me, Mary. I meant for single men. My bad.
There you go.
I think single men should go to medieval times to meet single ladies.
How was that, by the way? Are there a lot of single ladies at medieval times, Mary?
I think that the bartenders might have been single. You could.
Were there female? There were
female barkeeps, wenches wearing cute dresses. I think that would be a cool job because you just get to yell at people all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to medieval times over the weekend and it was lit. It was based. You eat like a Cornish game hen with your hands. They don't give you utensils. And
you were explaining to me that it's
everything.
different from a Ren fair.
I mean, yeah, it's like commercialized, Americanized Ren fair experience. But like it's like a 2-hour whole like theatrical experience. If you haven't been to medieval times, you need to. I can't imagine having to do that 3 times a day.
They must love it.
As one of the performers, like, it's crazy. But I felt a little bit bad for the horses because I worry about the horses. Like, you literally are a horse that lives in a mall. How can a horse live in a shopping mall? Where are the stables? How do they get sunlight? They live in a parking lot in a metropolitan shopping center. I worry about them.
Driven in?
Yeah, I hope so. But that's not, I mean, they do this every day.
We should do a vlog where you go and try out for medieval times to be a performer.
I would do it.
You should do it.
They would be like, nice try, but you could be a bartender or a janitor.
You would be a great bar wench.
I think it would take me a while to get used to yelling at people.
What? No, it wouldn't. It would take you 0 time at all to get used to yelling at people.
I would lose my voice so fast.
So it's not the act of yelling at people. It's the
I'm fine with yelling at
nature.
people, but like it's physically straining your voice for hours on end. I don't know if I'm cut out for it.
I think if you're mad enough at people, you could also persevere.
They have to call you milord or milady, and I'm like, have they like rewritten their policies for gender non-conforming?
Nobody? Nothing?
Nobles?
Nobles? My people?
Do they have to say, hello, my noble, my non-binary noble?
That eventually will be the policy.
But I think the costumes are cute. I would love to wear a costume. Corey Anderson said, I have a hard time articulating my thoughts.
Story of my life. My friend, that's.
Is he making fun of you?
The funny thing is when I was thinking about it earlier, when we were talking about the discussion on directors and writers and actors, I get the frustration. I have a hard time every single day. Sometimes the stuff in my brain makes so much sense up here, but for some reason when I try to articulate it, the fact that I'm just not a good orator gets in the way. That's a problem. So I get what he's saying, and I get that the extra level of frustration that would come from having the studio involved is a problem. But look, you're paid good money to be the punching bag at the end of the day. You don't get to just be the hero of the story when it goes well, but not the villain of the story when it doesn't go well. That's not how the real world works.
High Voltage 75 said, Mary, have you ever had a little lamb? No, I've never had a little lamb. To answer your question, I think that nursery rhyme was about pregnancy, though.
Was it?
Right? Am I wrong? I don't know. That's just an old wives' tale. Corey Anderson said, was it the one in Anne Arundel County by Maryland Live? That is where I live. Well, there's only one in Maryland, so I assume that was the one that I was at. And it's probably the one where I went on field trips when I was a little kid. So that was cool. Bucky Ducky said, oh, but I do remember when I went there as a kid, I remember that there was like a little like room that you toured torture weapons, like medieval torture weapons. And I think they took that out because kids these days are so sensitive that they can't see that. Bucky Ducky said, I do a lot of Renaissance festivals. It's shockingly hard to find good single women there. They either aren't good or are there with someone else.
I imagined it was a place where couples went more than single people.
Probably. I mean, I saw like a lot of kids. I was worried that it was going to be like all kids and I'm just the only adult. All kids and parents, but no, there was a good mix. And if they're serving alcohol, like they're going to be adults there. But I don't know, like a Renaissance festival, I would have thought would be a good place.
Yeah.
Corey Anderson said where? Wait, what do you mean? Oh, he did a typo. Drewish AF said my meth chat was jokes, clean from it, and H for 7 years.
Congratulations, my friend. That is a huge accomplishment. Continue on.
Gal Gadurp said meth money comes from not having to buy toothpaste.
There you go.
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, drugs lead to bad hygiene.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yep. All right. They're like talking about medieval times now. Again, not something I didn't even know the difference between like a Ren fair and medieval times.
I mean, it's a huge difference because a Ren fair is going to be like outdoors with a bunch of vendors.
That's what I think of when I
there's
think
like live music, and there are like LARPers who, you know, pretend to sword fight and joust and stuff, and there's stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like medieval times is like the most American thing ever.
Yeah.
Because we're obsessed with monarchy and you know, English accents and stuff.
All right, guys. Before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel, please, if you have not done so already. Mary, let everyone know they can find you. Actually, got one more there.
Oh, Bucky Ducky said, yes, Mary, good place for single women, but they ain't good single women. Lots of swingers and degenerates, not the kind I would wife up. Swingers at Ren fairs.
So you're telling me that between, like, if you're single now in the year 2024, your choices are swingers at the Ren fair and swingers on Main for Disney. I'll pass on both.
Maybe go to church. I don't know. Jared Price said, Mary had a little lamb was real. Her name was Mary Sawyer. She's from my hometown in Massachusetts, and we have a statue of a lamb in the town center. That's very Massachusetts. Corey Anderson said, any of y'all have tattoos?
Nope.
Neither of us have tattoos. Nope.
All right, Mary, let everyone
Never
know
will.
where they can find you.
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. Guys, if you want to follow me, Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify, if you would prefer to listen rather than watch. If you want to follow the show on social media, we're on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.